This Houston Texans preview edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by WynnBet. Bet $50 at WynnBet and get $200 in free bets. Bet big, win bigger with WynnBet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bets today. We're also brought to you by IPVanish. IPVanish is the official VPN of SGPN, and they're offering 70% off if you go to IPVanish.com/SGP. That's IPVanish.com/SGP. And make sure to check out our new Discord server, the perfect place to interact and sweat bets with the entire SGPN crew. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord.
This is Jerry Glanville, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, brother.
Cox. He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. Well, Sean, we're still here. We're still talking football, and I'm 100% football. I am 100% football at this point in my life. I can't speak to you, and we just completely went dark. I'm sorry. I'll figure that out. Why don't we bring on our what are we talking about, Sean? What are we here to discuss today?
We are here to talk about the Houston Texans. Joining us here to talk Houston Texans. You know him from the MLB Gambling Podcast, the NBA Gambling Podcast, tons of podcasts on the SGPN network, the Propcast. He does it all. Munaf The Machine Manji. What's happening, Munaf?
Hey, what's going on, guys? You just kick a guy while he's down. Just bring on a guy to talk about the lowly Houston Texans. But Sean, before we get into it, I couldn't help but notice over your left shoulder there, you have a very, very nice, memorabilia there.
Oh yes, Munaf actually the first person to notice because I had switched and apologies to Joe T. You will get your book back on the bookshelf, but I'm holding a copy of Gray's Almanac, the one that was that Biff Tannen got to dominate in Back to the Future 2. So and it's actually a real book, like with real stats. So 1950 to 2000.
It's too bad it's not till 2022, because I think what it might tell you is the Houston Texans are back, baby.
Let's go. All right. Whether you're betting the Houston Texans for or against them, or baseball, nice reduced juice, you can bet it all over at WynnBet. That's right. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBet, WYNNBET. Oh man. And if you haven't gotten in already, make sure Ryan, what are you doing over there? Make sure you check out
the dials.
The ultimate fantasy football experience.
Woo, it's talking about
for every $500 bet on sports or casino before the end of the month, you got a chance to win the ultimate fantasy football experience, including 2-night stay at the Wynn Resorts for you and your entire league. So again, you and your buddies are getting down on all these NFL futures. How about this for a guy's trip? Everyone goes, hangs out, parties in Colorado, gets down all your NFL futures, and then one of you guys lucky enough to win the ultimate fantasy football experience at the beautiful Wynn. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at WynnBet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WynnBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. All right. Houston Texans. Ryan, I feel like we've probably tipped our hand already between the futures draft and just coming in talking about the Texans being a little higher than market. Let's see how they've done the past couple of years. 2020, they were 4-12, 6-10 ATS, went under their win total 8.5. Last year, 4-13 straight up against the spread though, 8-9. Win total was 5, so the under there how did we do as handicappers picking the Texans?
Very middling. 8-9 for me against the spread. 7-10 for you against the spread in those Texans games. But I think we were.
What was our preseason total?
We were cheerleaders though.
Yes.
I feel like we were our preseason predictions. Funny you wanted to hear this, Sean. I was 6-11, so unfortunately I was once again bullish on the Houston Texans.
You were a year ahead on the Texans.
I was a year ahead, and Sean, you wouldn't believe it, 4-13.
Oh my God! So this is our third team, and I think I'm off by a combined like one game.
Munaf predicted 2-15.
Munaf was just completely out. We're like, come on, Munaf, they might win 4 games. He's like, no, maybe they will beat the Jaguars at home. That's it.
But our big kind of collective win was playing the exact result, but specifically playing a 3rd, 4th that was Texans Jags, just flipping the order. And we're seeing this again this year, Sean. I think when we were talking about the NFC North, just flipping the order, we had a +300 on the Texans to be 3rd and a +400 on the Jags to be 4th. So that was a fun little cash for us.
Nice. So not too shabby. All right, let's talk big picture stuff. Obviously the biggest move seems to be new head coach Lovie Smith. What was your reaction when they hired Lovie Smith, Munaf?
We've seen we've seen the National Football League or many other teams around the league go with a young mind, like a young offensive guy.
Yes.
At the head coaching position, right? We talk about the Minnesota hire. Bright minds like Sean McVay and those type of guys.
Nick Sirianni,
yeah, you could sure throw in that guy in there.
Brian Dable, even
Brian Dable, yeah. But the Texans just went completely off the map here because of the guys that they actually interviewed and were talking to. Like, oh no, it's all smoke and mirrors. We're just gonna go ahead and hire our old defensive coordinator, promote him to the head coaching position.
I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that once the hire was actually made, the fans were actually like, "What the fuck?" But we saw a lot of player tweets coming out supporting the hire of Lovie Smith. So I think that is something that was, I guess, a positive move for the Texans with all the shit that they have dealt with over the past 2 years with Deshaun Watson and the front office.
I mean, maybe they just like the barbecues.
Yeah.
Maybe they like the vibe. I mean, I get it. They didn't win a ton of games last year, but did the team have fight?
Yeah, they played for their head coach. I mean, Ryan,
the whole coaching staff is the same.
That last week of the season parlay where we had the Jags money line and the Texans money line parlayed together would have paid us like $30K. It was insane.
What a run.
And the Texans were in that game against the Titans. Like they did seem to play for Culley. They just seemed a few players short. To me, Lovie Smith is like the rebound girlfriend or whatever, or the rebound after you get that divorce, because you're not going to end up long term with Lovie Smith, right? Like I just don't see it. I like Lovie Smith. I think he has a decently high floor, but I just don't see any ceiling case.
This is the take. The take is it's the wrong. The Texans probably should be bad again.
Yeah.
But this is the Texans. So that this is like them, like Culley, like one more step on Culley. Let's maximize. Let's bring in some vets. Let's try to win next year. Absolutely. Lovie Smith has a high floor and a very low ceiling.
Yeah.
And so it's a very intriguing proposition because again, what we said 30-1 is the division.
I know,
and when you just like the idea that a single team could be 30-1, the idea that a team that is going to try to win, right? This is that football guy vet. Lovie Smith is brought in to win games, and he's not capable of winning 12 games, but could he win 6, 7, 8 games? This is where it gets. I think this is the Texans are somehow someone said to the masses, and this team sucks. This team's tanking. And I don't know if it couldn't be further from the truth.
Don't tell that to these Texans.
How you could think that the Texans are tanking when they kept the whole team together.
They did lose Philip Lindsay, which I mean that guy's just a straight dog. I miss.
He
Phil.
hasn't been good in a while.
I know.
Maybe in addition,
guy runs hard. I do think the Lovie Smith thing you question. I guess the positive though, to me, they bring in Pep Hamilton as their offensive coordinator, which I would imagine Lovie Smith is just turning over the keys completely to Pep Hamilton, who I think is probably like an underrated guy, especially at the offensive coordinator position. Had some good run with Andrew Luck back in the day. He was the quarterback coach for the Chargers for Herbert's rookie year. So Munaf, I see you shaking your head. I assume you're kind of quietly psyched about Pep Hamilton, and maybe there's a world where, hey, he just runs the offense, Lovey runs the defense, and kind of does everything else, and maybe they do end up growing as an offense.
Yeah, and that's the point I was exactly gonna make, is that it just feels like that Lovie Smith is kind of a placeholder until Pep Hamilton is ready to be the Houston Texans head football coach,
maybe that's
right.
it.
And last year I believe he was the passing game coordinator and the quarterbacks coach. Now they're bringing him into the offensive coordinator position. Maybe you have Lovie Smith for this year, possibly next year, and then when maybe they think that Pep Hamilton is ready to be the head coach of this football team, that's when they make him the official head coach of this team. But yeah, we're excited about Pep Hamilton down here in Houston. That was one guy that we wanted to have back on this coaching staff in some form or fashion. And now he is your offensive coordinator. And like you just mentioned, he's to work with guys like Andrew Luck. I'm not saying that he'll turn Davis Mills into that type of guy, but Davis Mills was pretty good towards the end of the year last year or throughout the season for the Texans last year.
Well, the two things that Justin Herbert and Davis Mills last year had in common is that Tyrod got hurt, putting them on the field super early. And I do think that it speaks to his ability as a coach to work with the player, have some success. I mean, Davis Mills, I think, graded out as the number 2 rookie quarterback last year. So
yeah, I mean, you could make a case,
and he had way less than some of the dudes who graded out worse than him.
And
so,
it wasn't like the whole franchise put everything behind Davis Mills.
But
let
me go further though, because I think the Pep Hamilton, like, yes, he was at Stanford. He's part of the Harbaugh, Shaw coaching tree, whatever. Actually got to start at Howard. Fun fact, but. Did you know Pep Hamilton was part of the evaluation process for Stanford when recruiting Davis Mills? This is a by design move by Pep Hamilton. Not only that, he had a chance to leave. He had multiple opportunities to leave this offseason. He chose to stay to, quote, continue what he's working on with Davis Mills. Now,
that's a great quote, because it shows that he saw something. If you're an OC, your job security is going to be tied to the quarterback position. If he didn't see a dog in Davis Mills, he would have completely bailed.
And one, you might say, hey, what kind of experience does he was also a head coach. Pep Hamilton already has head coaching experience. Sean, the XFL, the Defenders, of course. But I think all of something to be said about the stability in the coaching staff. Now we're now 2 years removed from Bill O'Brien. I think that matters. And I think lastly, there's no Davis Mills doesn't have someone breathing down his enormous neck. It's this is his opportunity, and I think we kind of like the receivers. We kind of like the young running back they brought in. I'm blanking on his name.
It's kind of a good
Damian Pierce, and they brought in guys like Jerry Hughes. They drafted Stingley. They drafted a safety in the 2nd round, a linebacker in the 3rd round. Like, Lovie Smith's going to have this defense playing okay. And the thing that actually popped out to me is their offensive line was average last year.
Yeah,
Tunsil's like a legit left tackle in the NFL. The fact that this team is being spoken about in the same way as some of the really bad teams in the league and being spoken about as a team that's clearly tanking, I just don't think you've looked at anything on this roster.
No,
nothing about this roster says we're trying to win 3 games. Everything about this roster says we're trying to win 7 games.
Tunsil had a 0.8% blown block rate before he tore that thumb ligament. So if he comes back, he's healthy. They drafted Kenyon Green in the 1st round as a guard. Maybe that's an overdraft, and
who cares?
No, I'm just saying, maybe it's not quote draft capital the best, but should help the O line.
It's that weird thing where he might not be the best use of, like you said, draft capital and long-term prospect, but he's going to be on the field producing.
He's going to be a day one starter, I would imagine. What about John Mechie? Of course, you guys drafted him pretty high in the 2nd round there. He's coming off an ACL injury in what it was a SEC championship game. So I was digging in. It seemed like maybe, of course he's getting he's blowing by all the check marks here. But what is your thoughts on what's the local buzz there on whether Mechie will be ready for week 1?
Yeah, I haven't read too much into that if he's going to be ready for week 1 or not. But I mean, I think that I guess not. I guess you can say the positive is that he's a young guy. Like he can bounce back sooner from a injury like that than maybe an older guy. But I think that one of the concerns the fan base also had here is that we needed skill position guys. Like the wide receivers were not very good post DeAndre Hopkins, right? I know we extended Brandon Cooks. We have Nico Collins coming back in the second year, and you also drafted John Mechie. So there's a lot of speed on this offense, especially at that wide receiver position. So we're excited for it. I hope that Mechie is back sooner rather than later for this Texans team. You guys mentioned Jerry Hughes. Fun fact, he was in my high school graduating class.
Ooh. Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. And to Kramer's point, you add Stingley. Okay, that's obvious. That should. I don't see how that doesn't help the defense. Although Lovey normally has like a zone thing, and Stingley's more of a man cornerback, but I'm sure he can figure it out.
They drafted him though.
Yeah, I know.
It's not like Lovey Smith's getting stuck with a guy. Like he obviously has a plan. And let's not act like Lovey Smith didn't participate in a complete revolution, like a complete changing of the way teams were playing defense for a while there. And like his defenses were just lock it up. And perhaps it's just the game has passed him by, but I'd be willing to bet that Lovey Smith can put I know his unit wasn't very good last year, but with some upgrades, maybe they won't be horrible. And I'll actually go super hot shake. Mechie will not be back. I think there's a chance Mechie is on the pup as well.
Yeah, I think maybe like pup for 6 games, and then like maybe a Rashad Bateman type season.
And there's no reason to rush them either, right?
Yeah,
because we know
they have
like
Chris
they're not
Connolly on the
very
roster,
good.
Philip Dorsett. They have some guys who could randomly step up. The thing I would say is just from a Brandon Cooks, Nico Collins standpoint, how many teams in this division have a clear, better top 2 pass catching threats?
It is weird because I mean, Titans obviously aren't the same pass catching wise now that AJ Brown is
Robert
out.
Woods and
Treylon Burks can't get on the field.
We can't name him until he just does something.
Yeah, he has to do something. I guess you would say the Colts pass catchers.
Pittman
probably.
and who?
Well, yeah,
exactly. So I'm so high on the Texans this year. It's disgusting. I don't. People are all right. So everyone is saying, "Oh, look at the Jags. They have an easy schedule against passing defenses this year." That's a reason why we're high on Trevor Lawrence, right? Doug Peterson's going to come. Davis Mills has a similar thing. The schedule is tough, but they do play easier pass defenses, and I think
they play the Giants, they play the Eagles.
Oh, wow!
So they have a couple tough games.
That's it. No more guests on the team.
All right, should we get into walking through their schedule?
Let me
here?
make sure I don't have any sweet. It's worth noting the Football Outsiders, the nerdiest of the nerds. They literally are projecting 7.9 wins for this Houston Texans team. When I saw that, I got so aroused. I'm like, wait, this is not just a hot take. They could actually win this division 30-1. Are you kidding me? All
Texans dropped only 12 passes last season, lowest in the league. So that again,
great nugget.
Just a fun little nugget to toss in there. All right, their 2022 betting odds, courtesy of WinBet. Win total 4.5. And you're getting plus 100 right now on the over, minus 120 on the under. To win the AFC South, I'm seeing, we'll call it 30-1. To win the AFC, 110-1. To win the Super Bowl, 300-1. Plus 875 to make the playoffs. Minus 1667 to miss the playoffs. We'll walk through the schedule, but I think I just don't think any team really in the NFL should be 30-1 to win the division, especially when it's not like the Chiefs are in the division or the Bills or even the Packers.
Right, so
like who is the?
Let's just really quick talk through this. The Titans.
Could Davis Mills be the best quarterback in the division by the end of the year?
Yes.
Well, Matt Ryan Tannehill without AJ Brown. We don't know. Trevor Lawrence might just suck. There's a lot of
so Matt Ryan has already been on the decline and is old as fuck.
Yes.
Ryan Tannehill very clearly is starting the decline, and Trevor Lawrence isn't even on his vehicle yet. So I mean, Davis Mills graded out better than Trevor Lawrence last year. He's a better quarterback coming into the year, and yet everyone is sucking off Trevor Lawrence just because fucking visor man Doug P showed up. I don't get it.
All right,
Ready?
let's get to it. Let's start walking through the schedule.
All right, so I love it too. Home at Indy to start the season. At Denver, that's always a tough spot. At Chicago, back-to-back road games early in the season. Chargers at home.
Ooh,
not the easiest start, but you know what? You know I'm down on the Bears, and you know I'm high on the Texans. So I'm gonna say upset special. I say watch out for this Texans team. Watch out, 3-0. They could start 3-0, but
you're a maniac.
But I'm gonna go 2-2 early.
Okay, Munaf, what do you got? First four.
Let's go with. I want to go 2-2. I feel like it's going to be a competitive week 1 game. Let's go 1-3.
You know they're going to beat the Colts week 1, even though the Colts have had their number. You know they're going to beat.
You know what?
Colts.
I'm going to say 2-2 because I think I could see them randomly snaking the Chargers. Didn't they beat the?
They beat them last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they randomly match up well against the Chargers. And you want to talk about inside knowledge? Pep Hamilton getting the inside scoop on Justin Herbert. I think that could be a possible win there. So again, I'll go 2-2. Feels like a bit high. I should, because I'm already leaning over coming into this. I got to remind myself to be a little stingy.
Not me, not being stingy at all. At Jacksonville, early bye week. NFL trying to screw over the Houston Texans. Maybe it's due to their involvement in Deshaun Watson's never-ending search for a masseuse that fit him. At Las Vegas coming after the bye. Tennessee at home, Philly at home.
So the Philly game, as much as I know the Eagles will definitely win that game.
No,
that is tough. A non-conference road Thursday night game is
sandwiched between Pittsburgh and Washington.
Is always kind of a tough spot for any team. At Jacksonville, Titans at home. Again, I think they could be competitive against the Titans. Raiders, that might be a tough one for them. I'll say, man, do I say 2 wins again?
Are they favored in? Well, they're not favored in any of these games, but the Jags and the Tennessee will be favored by a decent chunk there.
Yeah.
Maybe not Tannehill. Maybe
if Tennessee gets off to a slow start, or if the Jags get off to if the Texans are 2-2,
I'll go 1-3.
They could be a favorite in Jacksonville. I would not be shocked. I would be surprised if they're favored against the Raiders.
Going 1-3.
I'll let Munaf go first before I weigh in.
They're bringing the Eagles for sure. I'll say that. Week 9. They have.
Why did I do that?
Those sweet red helmets that they're going to be playing. That they're debuting this year. I'm gonna go 2-2 here. I think they beat Tennessee and Philly.
Okay.
They just have a stretch. Philly goes
or Jacksonville.
Philly has a stretch where they play at Arizona, Dallas, bye week, Pittsburgh, then at Houston, then it's Washington at Indy.
Gotta win them all.
I'm just saying, that's an ultimate sandwich spot right there.
Yeah, I'll go. Oh man, I want to give them 2 wins. I really do.
Munaf, you went 1-3, right?
I'll go.
Yeah, I'll go 1-3.
Or you were good. All right.
Yeah, I gotta go 1-3.
I'll go 1-3. Got him 3-5.
All right. Next up, at New York Giants, Washington at home,
W.
At Miami. Those are always tricky. And the humidity down there in the summer or in the winter, and then Cleveland at home,
2-2.
Ooh. Well, Watson revenge spot. Interesting.
And again, the NFL is telling you. The NFL told you what was going to happen with the Baker Mayfield trade by making it week 1, and the NFL is telling you by making this December 4th, Browns Texans that Deshaun Watson will be playing in that game. Revenge game for Deshaun Watson or revenge game for the Texans, who maybe. I don't know. Are Texans fans mad at Deshaun Watson?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I would imagine so, but
fuck that guy.
I'll go 2-2 here because I think between the Giants, Commanders at home, Dolphins, I think they can pull out 2 wins, and I think they're going to give. That Browns game could be their Super Bowl, so I think they'll get up for it.
Giants will be off their bye week, so that's not a great schedule spot for them there.
For the Giants, no,
the Giants are coming off their bye.
No, but now teams lose off their bye.
Super unfair.
Texans are off that Thursday night game against the Giants as well.
Yeah, so they'll be good.
And then Miami is also off a bye in this section. If you're keeping track,
but the teams coming off a bye, it actually weirdly hurts them now. Like if you look at ATS stuff. Because they used to on the bye week. They used to still be able to practice, but now with the new collective bargaining agreement, if you look at the past couple of years, teams coming off a bye, ATS, it's not helpful.
It's not what it used to be.
I would be curious to see what teams ATS is going into the bye as well. Like, it's like a
getaway game.
Check it out, or are they like, hey, let's go all in, get this W before we get into our bye week? That'd be interesting to see.
All right, so at Giants, Washington, at Miami, Cleveland. I'll say they get 2 there.
Yeah,
I'm going. Might be a bullish error. I go 1 again.
I'm going 2-2.
Yeah, I'm going 2-2 as well. I'm very, very certain they have December 4th circled.
Yeah,
on their no, there's no doubt they're going to want to go in and win that game.
All right, sure. we got a tricky spot here.
Last 5
at last 4 at Dallas.
Last 5, right?
At Dallas, Kansas City, at Tennessee, Jacksonville at home.
Oh man,
1-3.
They're going to beat Jacksonville. That's 1-3 for me as well.
Yeah,
I got 2-2.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, is it a Cowboy thing?
Dallas.
Yeah. Come on, Ryan.
It's gonna if they didn't have Cleveland the week before,
yeah, you're right. I'll go 1-3.
I think it's gonna be a letdown spot for them.
I'll go 1-3.
Not officially picking the Cowboys.
Talking some sense into me.
And then the final game, bonus football at Indy, week 18. Will this be for a playoff spot? I got them sitting at 6 and probably not for a playoff spot. They got 6. I have them at 6 and 10.
I got them 6 and 10 as well, right?
I'm gonna have them. I guess. Do they lose to the Colts then?
Do it, Ryan. Do I have them at 6 and 10 as well?
Yeah, you do.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna say loss to the Colts at home.
Yeah, me too. Well, 6 and 10 feels like a good prediction for the Texans.
Yeah, I think it's a loss as well.
So 6 and 11 for me. 6 and 11 for Kramer. Munaf, I feel like, what are you, 5 and 12 maybe?
Munaf's 5 and 12.
Even the rational Munaf the Machine had them over 4.5. Even
you could only go in one direction with this team. I mean, last year defensively they were absolutely atrocious, and I think last year with the whole Deshaun Watson situation was a distraction as well. Right now he's out of the building. They settled the lawsuits, at least from the Texans organization perspective. The elephant's out of the room. Now just go out and play. Just go out and play football.
All right, we're going to talk some other futures we like for the Texans. You know, your future is bright when you use IP Vanish, and even better when you go to ipvanish.com/SGP. 70% off their yearly plan. It is the premier VPN. Again, if you're doing streaming stuff, you want to hide your location, IP Vanish is great for that. You can use it on unlimited devices. It doesn't slow you down at all. You can add it to your tablet, your phone. Great for when you're traveling, hopping on some sketchy Wi-Fi, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. IP Vanish, lead pipe lock. When it comes to internet security, ipvanish.com/SGP. All right. What are we doing here? How big do we go on the future market, Ryan? Because
they're 3-1 week 1 at home.
Really?
3-1 week 1.
So I'm already putting together a little round robin money line parlay with some dogs.
Get that in there.
It's gonna be Texans, Bears. Trey Lance, a 6-point road favorite. Get the fuck out of here. No, thank you. As far as Houston though, I'm gonna put a small sprinkle on them to win the division at 30-1, just because I think it's mispriced. Because I just don't know why Tennessee, Jacksonville, it just seems like they're going to be way closer to even with some of these other teams than completely a 30-1 long shot.
Yeah, the full division odds are Colts -125, Titans +170, which I don't get that price at all. Jags +700. Why are the Jags and the Texans not the same? Texans +3,000.
Yeah, I mean Texans and Jags similar talent level. I mean, I guess I could see why you're slightly higher on Doug P as a head coach than Lovie Smith, but not a 30-1 versus 7-1 difference. I mean, yeah, I get it. Trevor Lawrence was drafted number 1 overall, but we didn't see anything out of Trevor Lawrence that warranted him being number 1 overall last year, right? I mean, and certainly, okay, it was a bad year. Urban Meyer sucked. You can make a ton of excuses for him, but they shouldn't be that big of a favorite against a team like this that can kind of, I think, win some close games. Like they can probably win some ugly games with some decent defense. Going back to Munaf's point, I think my biggest worry about them is they didn't maybe do enough on the offensive side to add some explosive playmaking. I mean, I like the Mechie pick, but again, how much is he going to be able to contribute this year? That's yet to be determined. I do like Nico Collins making a step up the next year, and I do think Cooks is reliable, and maybe you do project some growth with Davis Mills and his buddy Pep Hamilton in the same system. And there actually is some consistency on the offense, maybe improve the offensive line. So that's how you can kind of project them to be slightly better. But it would have been nice if they would have added maybe like one more explosive receiver, running back, something like that. And maybe Damian Pierce ends up being someone that they can get a lot of work out of. He's certainly interesting fantasy wise. Brandon Cook's always interesting fantasy wise.
Damian Pierce to have over 400.5 regular season rushing yards.
Oh, what's that?
And the Texans to be a wild card seed is 100-1.
Oh my God. All right. Yes.
I'll write that one down.
Co-sign that for me.
You see what we're doing here.
Houston to be what if they win the division? Does that somehow like void it?
I think we might.
That would be hilarious if that's how you lose the bet.
Yeah, that might actually be trouble there. The other one I found just from random props is you can actually play any Texan player to go over and basically any player have 1,000 or more receiving yards is -110. Brandon Cooks has never not had 1,000 yards receiver.
He's just
that was going to be my plays. Brandon Cooks. I see that 950.5. I mean, last two seasons with the Texans.
What?
Yeah, he's had 1,000 receiving yards in both of the seasons with them.
So Munaf, you're on the over. You like Brandon Cooks over receiving yards. Any other future plays you like here?
There was not much to my liking. I mean, I know the rookie of the or maybe defensive rookie of the year with Darius. Not Darius here. With Derek Stingley Jr. I think he is a third favorite. I believe it's around 10-1. I believe. For him to get that award. But other than that, I mean, I just feel like this is going to be a year for the Texans where try to get another top 5 draft pick, continue building this team. But I think that they can at least get 5 wins on this season, kind of how we walked through. I mean, in the last year where they only won 3 last year, in a year where we talked about the whole Deshaun Watson stuff and front office issues and fans rioting and stuff like that. But I think that there's just some good value on that over 4.5 for the Texans.
Well,
and you're getting plus money too.
Well, great time to remind people as well. Deshaun Watson, last time he played a full season, also only won 4 games. So,
yes,
I mean,
and that was with JJ Watt on the field too,
and DeAndre Hopkins too, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh man, Bill O'Brien, real national hero.
All right, so I'm on the over 4.5. Small sprinkle on them to win the division 30-1. And then them to make the playoffs, Damian Pierce to have over 400 yards at 100-1 that Ryan threw out. I'm co-signing that one as well. Yeah, I mean, I like Damian Pierce's over just because I think they haven't priced in what I think his workload's going to be yet. So I like that. And then you're basically taking an even money bet, tying it to them to make playoffs, which is 875, and you're getting 100-1. So I think that's pretty good value. What about you, Ryan? Anything else that we haven't hit on?
I mean, 30-1 on the division just feels like you got to. I almost am intrigued to also play the. I know this is probably all just relative burning money, and I should put all my money on the win total. Of course, I would be remiss to not remind you, like a great tout, I got a much better price earlier in the summer, bitches. I'm sitting with a heavy bet on Houston over 4. Houston over 4 plus 110, I believe, is the bet, which is crazy. I mean, how high do you play the Houston win total?
Oh, and do you
play over at 5?
Do you have the adjusted win totals?
I see a 5.5 adjusted win total. I believe it was plus 250, but let me double check that here.
That's so because
I think 5.5 over. I still like it. I mean, we walked through and I tried to be conservative-ish.
Right? Yeah, but I don't know if I'm ready to say this is a team that I'd play I'd almost rather just play the win or make the playoffs at 9-1 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Then dabble with pushing it too high, because at what point they make the playoffs with 9 wins, probably 10. I guess you probably need 10 wins.
10 wins guarantees you 9. Well, especially the AFC. I think the AFC you may need 10 this year.
Yeah. So if you want it, Under 3.5 is plus 185. Yeah, what Munaf said, 5.5 is plus 250. That's intriguing. I do think what's that pushing it a full win north, and that's a much better price than we've gotten on some of the other ones. It's a better price than pushing it the other way.
Yeah,
And there's been. I also want to throw this out there. If you are able to find a rushing yardage total on Dameon Pierce, I believe that, and the buzz has kind of been around Texans camp, is that he may emerge as the every down back for this team. So I know you have Marlon Mack there, you have Rex Burkhead, but I think there's been real steam behind Dameon Pierce, or at least the early reports of voluntary workouts and things like that, that he may be the guy for this Texans backfield, where this backfield last season, I believe, was the worst as far as rushing yards per game. So you might want to take a look at that. If you
Dameon Pierce might be a nice shot in the arm for them.
You can play that anyone will rush for 1,000. Like if any single player rushes for 1,000 yards on the Texans, 7-1.
Man, so many good Texans bets out there.
Should we write that one down too, Sean?
I'm not going to officially. I feel like I have enough on this. On the. All right, fine. I'll throw that one on there. Houston 1,000-yard rusher, 7-1.
Yeah, I got it right.
That's just kind of like that to me is just like a little long shot on Dameon Pierce there. So
isn't that the whole point of the betting on the Texans?
Yeah.
Here's another one I'll throw at you guys. Derek Stingley Jr. Defensive interceptions is set at 1.5 at even money. I kind of like the over on that. I mean, you're the number 3 overall pick.
Yeah.
And he's going to be the everyday starter. Like, I mean, that's why you drafted him number 3 overall. So this secondary cannot get any worse. And we've seen the news and the scouting report on this guy. He's a ball hawk. So 2 interceptions. I think.
I mean, he had 6 his freshman year when he really balled out. Yeah. So I'm over 1.5 feels like comically low. That's why I'm scared about it. But to your point, yeah, I mean, I guess the only counter is like, are they going to throw to Stingley's side at all? Yeah,
he's a rookie.
That's true. They're going to try and pick on him. He's going to make a couple plays. Yeah.
I mean, they do play Carson Wentz, so maybe just gets it done in that game. He gets.
Oh, that'll be great if he has 2 picks of Matt Ryan game 1. Oh man, it's going to be so awesome.
All right, so I have so many bets over 5.5 adjusted division. Do we also have make playoffs?
Let's not get carried away.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
No, that's too much. Okay.
I like my portfolio.
Division,
right now,
and then we have the 100-1 on the Dameon Pierce 400 rushing yards and Texans to be a wild card.
Yes.
We have 7-1 that any Texan player rushes for 1,000 yards. We have over Cooks 950 receiving yards. We've over Stingley 1.5 interceptions, and I think we threw out if you can find a Dameon Pierce over on rushing yards, take that as well. Although that's 7-1 for him to go over 1,000 is pretty. I mean, if that's less than you think. It's like 70 yards a game. Sean, do the math. Lovie Smith likes to run the ball.
I'm doing the math.
Remember Matt Forte?
Oh yeah, I think Texans really the ultimate play over 4.5 wins. Get that over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet WINNBET. And hey, if you guys want some free merch, we're giving it away. All you got to do. Take a screenshot of your review of the Sports Gambling Podcast on Apple Podcasts. Submit it in the app. Again, the SGPN app, free. Just click the contest tab. Submit it there. We're picking winners every Monday, aka Merch Monday. Check out Munaf MLB Gambling Podcast, Propcast. Got some more podcasts coming. Putting the team on his back. And follow him on Twitter at SportsNerd824.
Sean, our first over of the season.
First over of the season.
Congratulations to us.
I thought we were supposed to pick every over like Colby and the college football experience.
We're doing it wrong. Real quick, Dameon Pierce to have the most rushing yards in the NFL.
Oh no.
Is that also 100-1?
250-1.
250-1.
250-1.
All right, we got to stop this podcast. I got to get down into the bets.
That's worth a pizza bet.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green, and he is Ryan.
Over, baby.
Kramer, let it ride.